Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of His Dark Materials, Season 1, Episode 2, The Idea of the North. This show has already thrown me for a loop. It's nothing like what I expected, which is probably good. In the first episode, I had kind of brought up that I was thrown off a little bit by the pacing because so much happens so quickly. And I was like, movies, for example, even the Golden Compass movie, is that same way. If you read the book and then you watch the movie is almost like a clip show of just the highlights from the book, which is pretty common. And so the first episode, I was like, well, they're going to go really slow. They're going to take their time. They're going to flesh out these characters. No, the first episode flew past. And plus, they actually added some stuff in there that I didn't even know about. So I was like, this is kind of interesting. Boom, second episode, and already you can kind of tell they have a whole universe planned out, which is great. We've seen in other contexts, like Harry Potter, for example, or even Game of Thrones, when you start to make a TV show or even a movie series based off of a book series that's still going, you're kind of at the author's mercy. You have no idea what twists and turns and characters are going to get killed and brought back and stuff like that. So you're kind of hoping for the best. Whereas when you already have the book series that's done, His Dark Materials is only 3 books. It's done. You're good. At least for this. You can actually pull material from the other books, and that's great. And that's kind of what we're seeing in this. So a lot of spoilers, obviously, if you haven't watched it. We see a lot more of Mrs. Coulter and just her whole personality, where she's talking about I'm kind of scared of heights because I'm always scared I'm going to jump off. And it's oh, well, you're honest, and that's great. But just watching her and Lyra kind of talk to each other was amazing. I feel in this show, Lyra is much more of a kid. And that's nothing really against Philip Pullman, but him writing for a little girl, Lyra is supposed to be very, very intelligent and very adult for her age. Whereas in this, Lyra she does have those qualities, but when she sees the bear skull and she's just enamored and she runs over there, and then she starts telling stories Roger had to climb up my hair and stuff like that. And it's just, you see her being more of a kid, and I kind of really appreciated that part. The scenes, the book is basically, from what I can remember, all from Lyra's, point of view, since she's the main character. I don't remember any other parts of it. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I don't. So I think it's interesting to see a bunch of the other scenes that don't have her in them. And you can almost feel how off it is. I shouldn't really even know what's going on here, because I should only be focused on Lyra. So that's kind of cool. Billy and Roger meeting up, them all just, the speaking of dust scene is great. It's just kind of showing the progression of it. I remember for the Golden Compass, the scene, Philip Pullman actually wrote the scene where Mrs. Coulter slaps her demon. He wrote that scene specifically for the movie. And then you kind of see that scene a little bit in this episode, which I thought was interesting. But it didn't feel as connected. I really actually loved that scene in the movie, because Nicole Kidman's reaction, and then you can even kind of see the handprint on her cheek. Whereas this one, she just kind of slaps him and then just walks off. So that was a little weird to me. The biggest divergence from the book series is obviously one of the characters from this actually comes to our world, presumably our world, and that's amazing. That's something that doesn't really happen in the first book. So I think that's great that they're already kind of planning the information from other books to kind of lead together, make it all kind of flow a little bit. The same thing with Lord Asriel and the fact that it's Mrs. Coulter that reveals that he is Lyra's father. That's not something that's revealed right away in the book, and it's not done by her. So that's great. I love the whole letter writing thing, and even Mrs. Coulter seeing that it's Roger was a little bit messed up. She knows who he is now and still kind of burns it. I love the reporter's butterfly scene where he just crushes it, and it's like, oh, like they don't hold back, like they just go full force. And then the natural breaking point for this episode is watching Lyra run away. So now she will of course be with Egyptians, and we'll kind of start going through that storyline. Overall, it's really great. I'm really enjoying the season so far. It's nothing like what I expected. Which is great. It's something new and exciting, and it's blowing the expectations aside. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? I actually just finished the first book today. My goal was to finish it before the series came out, to kind of refamiliarize myself with it, because it's been years since I've read it. So I'm a little bit behind, but it's great. I'm going to jump right into book 2, especially now that I know how connected they are. So let me know what you guys think about the show so far, and I will see you guys next week for The Spies.